Good morning. Our top focus is the Pathankot terror attack. I am Ankit Tyagi. Let's quickly take you what has happened so far. There has been a big terror attack in Pathankot in Punjab. The terrorists attacked Indian Air Force base in Pathankot at 3 a.m. in the morning, triggering an encounter that has just ended. Okay, so the latest is that the encounter has just ended, but the combing operation is still on. 4 terrorists have been killed. It will be clear in a while whether more terrorists were involved in this audacious terror attack. 2 security personnel have also been martyred. 6 Air Force personnel are injured in this attack. The terrorists did not manage to reach the technical area of the Air Force base where the fighter jets are placed. Sources say terrorists' main aim was to destroy the fighter jets. Army's special forces were involved in the operation. Home Ministry and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval are monitoring the situation. Sources have also informed India Today that these may be the same terrorists, those who abducted Gurdaspur Superintendent of Police. At that point of time, the terrorists did not know that the person they have abducted is a senior ranking police official. Security agencies also believe these are Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists. Sources have also informed that the attackers may have infiltrated 2 to 3 days back. Let's quickly just go through the ground reports that my colleagues have sent through the morning.
I am just standing outside the Air Force Station Pathankot. You can see the bulletproof vehicle. The operation is going on. The army, they have gone for the operation inside the Air Force Station because some of the injured people, they are inside. They can't come out because the operation is going on, and the terrorists are continuously firing on the civilian area, and some Air Force people are also trapped inside. That is the reason that Air Force commandos and the Army commando, they have been sent inside the Air Force Station so that the injured people can be taken out. Ashwin Kumar for India Today in Pathankot.
Let me now go across to Shiv Arur, our editor, for more on this. Shiv, an extremely audacious attack on the early morning of the second day of the new year. Now, the sources telling us that 4 terrorists may have been neutralized, but the security agencies still being very cautious and the combing operations are on.
That's correct, Ankit. We can confirm that 4 terrorists have in fact been killed, and that is likely to be the total number of attackers in this particular incident. 2 Indian Air Force personnel have also been killed and 6 have been injured. They've been all lifted to a hospital in Pathankot at this point of time. The important information that we have to share is, like we reported here first, that the terrorists were contained in one particular building in the domestic area of the airport. As you know, Pathankot is a military airport, Ankit, and there is a technical area which has 3 fighter squadrons. There are MiG-21 squadrons that operate from there, so it's a very sensitive forward base. It's a principal air defense base as far as Pakistan is concerned as well, because it's not very far from the border areas. And the MiG-21 station there would have been extremely vulnerable had these terrorists gained access to the technical area of the Pathankot base, because if they gained access there, then who knows what kind of havoc they could have actually wrought, because there are many fighters stationed in that area. We wouldn't like to give out a number exactly, but there are at least 2 squadrons worth of MiG-21 fighters in that particular area, apart from Mi-17 helicopters and other military assets. It appears pretty clear from what these terrorists were doing that they were trying to gain access to the technical area. Their intention was to gain access to the military area and destroy aircraft, as we've been reporting as well. But thankfully, they didn't manage to do that. They were contained in the domestic area. Nevertheless, even prima facie, this is being seen, as we've been reporting, as a terrible lapse, because if there was a high alert across military establishments across Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir, not only as a result of the November 27th Intelligence Bureau alert, but also after what happened just 24 hours ago with the Superintendent of Police of Pathankot,
Yes.
Singh, who was abducted, then it leaves no room for any kinds of excuses at this point of time. Nevertheless, the time for accountability will come a little later, like you rightly pointed out, Ankit. At this point of time, There are Army Special Forces from the Gorkha Rifles. There are Indian Air Force Garud Commandos, as well as the Punjab Police, who are in a joint operation conducting combing operations at this point of time, which is very, very critical.
Right, Gaurav Sawant, Strategic Affairs Editor, also joining us live on this story. Gaurav, Shiv was, of course, mentioning about the lapse in the security. But, we've been discussing how these ISI moles, those who have been arrested in the country, few of them serving personnel in the security forces. One, in fact, the recently arrested was an IAF serving personnel. How much of information, critical information, could have been shared? Because for an operation like this, it requires strategic planning and also recce before the foot soldiers can be unleashed.
Spot on there, Ankit. From the information that we are getting in, these terrorists, when they came in, they had some kind of information. Did they also have GPS devices like last time? That we will know only in a while. But the latest information that I can give you is that the firing operation as of now is over. That is what sources at the Pathankot airbase are telling India today. The firing operation is over. The combing operations are still underway. So there is a cordon that's in place. There's a search operation that is underway even as we speak. 4 terrorist bodies have been recovered so far. Given initial information that seemed to indicate there could be 4 plus, whether 5 or 6, not clear. Combing operations still on. Each individual, including those wearing military fatigues, they are being carefully scanned, their identity cards being checked, their buddies being made to verify who they actually are. Only then are they, area by area, they are being given the green light as this coordinate search operation goes. As far as the second aspect of your question is concerned, yes, the ISI in the past has been interacting with a number of serving and retired personnel, pretending to be journalists or others. In one case, in the case of that LAC Ranjit KK of Bhatinda Air Base, serving personnel, a woman with a strong British accent was in touch with him, claiming to be a journalist for an aviation magazine. So some information was compromised there. What other information has been compromised just as yet is a matter of investigation. But let me also tell you that the National Investigation Agency, their team is reaching Pathankot even as we speak, because they will begin a scientific forensic investigation into this terror strike. Ankit.
Gaurav, just stay on with me. Let's just quickly go through, in fact, a ground report that has been sent across by my colleague Ashwini.
This is a commando team from the Indian Army. They are going inside the Air Force station. You can see they are not with the commandos have been put inside this army and senior officers, and they are in the condition that immediately they can attack going inside. You can see they are fully trained commando, so that the terrorists can be immediately neutralized inside the base camp army. Gets some more additional forces has been rushed inside the army area. This is the Air Force station, and more commandos have been put on the alert. And you can see the trucks are also coming, and these commandos, they are going inside the Gorkha Regiment 3GR. They are going inside the Air Force station so that the terrorists can be neutralized immediately. They have a fully automatic weapons, and after seeing the fireball from the terrorist side, now the army has prepared a full plan to neutralize these terrorists inside the Air Force camp, and the more and more additional forces have been rushed inside the Air Force station so that the terrorists can be neutralized. You can see the Gorkha GR battalion, and they are going to kill the terrorists inside the Air Force station. And most of these people, they are commando in killing, they're neutralizing the terrorists, and so they have been called from the Mamoon area of Pathankot so that the army can neutralize these things. Some of this medical team has also reached here. They are also going inside the army, this Air Force station, so that they can be neutralized immediately. And more and more forces have been rushed inside the Air Force station so that that terrorists should not kill more people. Ashwini Kumar for India Today in Pathankot.
There was a report that was sent by Ashwini Kumar just a while back. In fact, as of now, as Shivarur and Gaurav Sawant were confirming to us, the terrorists have been killed. Shivarur on the phone line. Shiv, of course, the post-mortem of this lapse will now begin. But at least, a big relief for the security agencies would be that the terrorists could not breach the technical area. They almost wanted to do the same that they did in Pakistan, where they attacked the naval base and destroyed the aircrafts there.
Absolutely right, Ankit. You're referring to the Mehran naval base attack in Pakistan, where terrorists gained access. A small handful of terrorists gained access, and they were able to destroy many aircraft of the Pakistan Navy, including some P-3 Orion aircraft stationed there. This particular base, Pathankot base, is actually of a pretty similar size to the Mehran Naval Air Station near Karachi, and there are many aircraft stationed here as well. What we do know is we don't want to give out too many sensitive details, but information that is already in the public domain is that Pathankot Air Force Station is a forward base. It is dedicated to air defense because it's very close to the border. There are a few squadrons, we don't want to reveal the number, of MiG-21 fighter jets there. And if you can just imagine what would have happened, Ankit, if any of those terrorists, whatever they were armed with, if they were able to gain access to the technical area. Now remember, in an Air Force station, there is a domestic area and there is a military/technical area where you've got most of your military personnel, most of your armament depots, where your missiles are stored, where your ammunition is stored, and where, of course, the fighter squadrons actually are. Now, apart from the bloodshed that could have been caused once they reach the technical area because of the larger, density of persons actually living there, the damage that could have been caused to India's military assets, aircraft could have been blown up, the military depots could have been set on fire. It could have been absolute and utter chaos, even with 4 people. And we've seen attacks like these in the past. The attack that you referred to, the Mehran naval base in Pakistan, where just a handful of terrorists were able to destroy at least 3 to 4 aircraft. So obviously they were armed with enough, explosives or whatever it is to actually cause that kind of damage in a short period of time. It appears pretty clear, Ankit, that the choice of the Pathankot Air Force Base was specific, because Pathankot is a base that's dedicated to air defense against Pakistan. It's a forward area. It's not very far from the border. It's been a sensitive airbase in the past because Pathankot airbase has participated in the 1965 and 1971 wars with Pakistan. So in that sense, it's been a very active, it's an active base as far as Indo-Pak, conflict has been concerned. Also, it's very close to the border, so it's been easy to access. There was a high alert in the Pathankot airbase as well, so accountability will need to be fixed. Tragically, 2 Indian Air Force personnel who engaged with the terrorists have already been killed. 6 of them have been injured. But that operation, which is mostly, as Gaurav pointed out, a special forces / police operation at this point of time, combing operations, brushing up operations, sweeping up operations, I beg your pardon, to make sure there are no more terrorists hiding or any explosives or any sensitive material that's been left behind as part of this operation, is the absolute overarching priority at this time. As Gaurav also pointed out, there will be a very, very strenuous effort, Ankit, to see if the terrorists were carrying any GPS devices or communication devices, because that will be absolutely key to seeing if they were, in constant real-time contact with their handlers. There is some unconfirmed information about where instructions were actually coming from in Pakistan, and whether these were, Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba are terrorists. All of that information will be hopefully more specific in the next 1 or 2 hours.
Shiv, stay on with me. Let's just quickly take our viewers through a ground report that has been sent by Satyendra Chauhan from Pathankot.
पहले इन आतंकियों ने बमियाल में इनोवा गाड़ी छीनी, इनोवा के ड्राइवर को चाकू से गोदकर मार डाला। उसके बाद आगे बढ़ते हुए कथरौल में एसपी साहब की गाड़ी इन्होंने छीनी और इनको अगवा करते हुए ये जो सड़क है ये आप देख सकते हैं, इसी सड़क पर 1 किलोमीटर आगे एसपी साहब की गाड़ी बरामद हुई थी। और इसके बाद ये नलवा ब्रिज है, इसका पानी आगे जाकर रावी में मिलता है और ठीक इसके उस तरफ जो दीवार दिखाई दे रही है वो एयरफोर्स स्टेशन की दीवार है। कहा यह जा रहा है कि ये आतंकी इस दीवार को फांदकर एयरफोर्स स्टेशन में दाखिल हुए थे और आज सुबह 3:05 से ताबड़तोड़ फायरिंग कर रहे थे। और ताजा जानकारी के अनुसार फिलहाल सुरक्षा कर्मियों ने, हमारे जवानों ने इन चारों आतंकियों को मौत के घाट उतार दिया है। 2 जवान शहीद हुए हैं और इसके अलावा कई जवान घायल हुए हैं। घायलों को अस्पताल में इलाज दिया जा रहा है।
Let me now go across to Editor Strategic Affairs Gaurav Sawant, who is live on the phone line. In fact, who's live from the newsroom with us. Gaurav, as Shiv was informing us, the operation, at least the assault on these terrorists have ended. Most likely all of them are dead. The combing operations are as of now on. But this still is a sensitive phase. There will be, of course, the security agencies will be extremely cautious before they can declare the area free of these terrorists.
Oh, absolutely, Ankit. In the past, there has been an instance where the army in Jammu and Kashmir, in fact, near Jammu, it was a military base where they declared an area sanitized when the area hadn't completely been sanitized, and when the corps commander and other senior officers came in for an inspection or just to review the site. One terrorist was injured, but lying in wait, he came out, and he fired indiscriminately. We lost a brigadier. A general was injured at that point of time. This, of course, happened several years ago. But after that, there is a standard operating procedure in place. An area has to be sanitized completely, certified as sanitized by a superior officer, and only then do other senior officers come in for an inspection and assessment. So as of now, while the firing operation may be over, that is what the Additional Director General of Punjab Police has just confirmed to India today, that there has been no firing in the past 1 hour. But combing operations are still underway. They are now going from room to room, building to building. And since this is an open area, as Satinder Chauhan was just pointing out in that report, it's a vast open expanse. They're also going through that wooded area to know that nobody is hiding there. Only then will they declare this operation as closed, and only then will the NIA team, the National Investigation Agency team that is there, that will then begin its investigations from the dead bodies of these terrorists, the weapons they were carrying, the ammunition they were carrying, other things that they could be carrying. Intelligence inputs seem to indicate that this is a hybrid group of Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. They crossed over from the international border a couple of days ago. The exact spot still not yet known, but that backward investigation has already started.
Gaurav, of course, the big question now would, of course, also be how did these terrorists manage this sort of an audacious attack? Remember, there was already a high alert that was sounded off. The terrorists did not know that they have held, in fact, Superintendent of Police hostage post he was thrown out of that car. There were combing operations going on. They were trying to locate these terrorists. Already this installation was on high alert because of a possibility of an attack. This, of course, is going to be under the purview or the review of the security agencies now.
Now, from what my sources are telling me, that after the Superintendent of Police gave information about 4 men in military fatigues who'd held him hostage, and how he got out of that vehicle, those details are still awaited. But that send alarm bells ringing. There was a red alert that was declared immediately, and from what my sources tell me, the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval immediately ordered an NSG team, an additional NSG team to be sent to the area. The army was asked for a special forces team to be deployed at the Pathankot airbase, because by then, by yesterday, it was very clear that it could be the Pathankot airbase or the Mamoon cantonment of the Indian Army, though the Khadga Corps is very, very well protected. That's like a fortress, and a very well guarded fortress. So all weak links were being seen at that point of time, and an additional special forces team was deployed at the Pathankot airbase, and that is why they could engage these terrorists almost immediately. And there was no repeat of the Pakistan naval base Mehran kind of an incident where terrorists succeeded in entering. Of course, that time terrorists had a lot of local help when they went in and destroyed one of Pakistan's best aircraft, maritime reconnaissance aircraft, the P-3C Orion. So this time, the terrorists, while they tried to get to the technical area, get to the hangars, as Shiv Arur was very correctly pointing out, Pathankot is a very, very sensitive airbase. The terrorists failed, security forces succeeded, but unfortunately, we've had to pay a price. We've had 2 fatal casualties.
Gaurav, of course, now the operation is right to its conclusion, right at the end. How soon, would we be able to know the number of terrorists and the kind of firepower that they were carrying? Because their motive was to somehow enter the technical area and attack and destroy the choppers and the fleet that was standing there.
Their aim was to destroy the choppers and the fighter jets. You have, your sensitive fighter aircraft and more than one squadron that is deployed at Pathankot, and it's a very, very sensitive forward airbase of the Indian Air Force. They fortunately did not succeed in getting there because that is where you had the commandos already deployed. From what my sources tell me, effective firepower, grenades and assault rifles, yes, but they had effective firepower at their command, these terrorists. That is how they managed to engage the security forces initially when they breach this outer cordon and enter, and then when they engage them from a little after 3 o'clock till practically 8 o'clock, because firing has stopped around 8ish. There's been no firing since 8. That is where 4 terrorist bodies have been accounted for. So we know the Indian Army and the security forces know the kind of firepower, ammunition, grenades and other wherewithal that these terrorists had. But all those details will filter out gradually once this operation is finally declared closed, which could happen perhaps in a couple of hours from now.
Gaurav, also the National Security Advisor himself is monitoring this entire situation. Of course, there will be a review on what needs to be done and also what were the lapses in this attack. But a word about how even after these terrorists, those who the alert was sounded, the NSG was also put on high alert. Do you believe that there could be some sort of a local help these terrorists could have had? There have been ISI moles, those who have been arrested, and many from the security agencies.
Well, did these terrorists have detailed layout of the Pathankot airbase? That would be, a dead giveaway. But there are indications that there are chinks in our armor. The arrest of a serving Indian Air Force official 3 days ago from the Bhatinda airbase. The fact that he was compromised, the arrest of a series of others, whether in Rajasthan or Uttar Pradesh or Andhra Pradesh, these are indications that the ISI has been working to a larger plan. There is a grand design of targeting India. Now, if you recall, recently we at India Today broke the story about terrorists trying to attack multiple targets in multiple cities simultaneously. Post 26/11, that is what their big plan was. And even now, that could, God forbid, be a reality because just 3 days ago, we broke that story about 20 terrorists having infiltrated into India, 15 to 20. So even if we say that 4 have been neutralized today, there could well be 15 to 16 others who are still out there, who could be in different cities waiting for the signal, order and the right opportunity to strike. So there is this clear and present danger and a constant war that is on with Pakistan-sponsored terror.